Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Tom, and today I'm joined by Chris for a little bit of a Deadline Dilemmas episode in the absence of our regular contributors and the weird day, Saturday with no football. We're going to have an hour chatting about all the big decisions that you'll be making ahead of Game Week 19 tomorrow. Chris, good Christmas. You still in the festive spirit?
I'm still in the festive spirit. I think you've got to make the most of it. I reckon you've got to drag it out. We've still got a couple more days of this year. I've got my fancy hat on, obviously, wearing my classic Everton shirt to celebrate our momentous three points over the Christmas period. So that's great. Who thought? I must say, I've got a shout out. Like, who thought Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City? Who thought we'd get anything from that? We've got three. We haven't played a Liverpool match yet. It's fantastic. You enjoyed the Chelsea result, didn't you?
Well, it was nice not to get a loss at Goodison Park. I think
nice
we've
not
lost 3 years in a row, but it was nice to get a point.
Yeah, it's true. We can't score, obviously, but yeah.
Fun fact coming up later.
We can score against City, but everyone can score against City. Easy. It's target match now, isn't it?
Fun fact coming up later. Beto has got more XG in the last 6 matches than João Pedro. So you can talk to me about why that's the case in a minute. But so today we're going to look back at Game Week 18 quickly. We're going to look at the fixtures, and then we're going to discuss the best midfielders, Bruno, Saka replacements, best forwards. João Pedro really frustrating now for me. Chris has got Visser, who he wants to move on as well. So we'll look if there's anything worth considering. Spoiler alert, there's not a lot, to be honest. And then we'll talk about Game Week 19 as well. So we'll get into it. Chris, do you want to take us through your Game Week 18? Just quickly reading it out for the podcast as well.
Yeah. Okay. So Game Week 18 was a bit meh, really. It was kind of all right. I did end up with a small green, but I had Flecken in nets, 3 points. Should have been much better. I've had Flecken and Johnson for so long, and Flecken and Henderson, not Johnson. I apologise, get the wrong housekeeper. But Flecken and Henderson, and I usually pick the wrong one, and I've done it again, but not unfairly. I feel Flecken got 3 points despite only being on for 35 minutes. But anyway, he was off injured, so he's made my choice simpler this coming week. And then I had Hall with 6, Gabriel with 6, and Timber with 9,
Nice.
and then Rogers 2, and Mbumo 3, Palmer with 10, and Salah 9, doubling up to 18 as captain. And then up front, Isak, who I brought in this week, with 8, and then Nicholas Jackson and Wisser with 2 points each. On my bench, Henderson with 7, annoying. Luis Diaz, who was part of my swap to get Isaac in. I could only get Isak in. I had Even Nielsen, which was a disaster, which wasn't working for me. And I wanted Isak, and I could only do it I had to get rid of Saka as well. I had to do 2 moves, really. So I took a hit, one of which the Isak bit worked, obviously. The Diaz bit didn't. And I'm so annoyed with myself because I didn't really want to do it. I was thinking about Murphy. I thought I should do it. And then I thought, do I want 3 Newcastle? It's a bit over-reliant, blah, blah. And I got talked into it by someone else. And on another podcast, that Diaz could be a good punt. I just went for it. And now I'm stuck with a problem I've got to deal with. So yeah, he got 0, didn't play, obviously. And I've got Robinson with 1 and Greaves, who's just kind of a holding spot, really, with 2 on my bench. So yeah, 69 minus 4, 65. Small green arrow up to 553,000 or something. So yeah, it could have been worse, I guess. It was
Fair enough. Diaz this week though, looking good.
If he plays, I mean, he could absolutely haul, and I'll be all overjoyed again. But the problem is, he's not going to play every week. So what am I thinking? Like, I've got like a nailed asset in Newcastle who's cost nothing, who's chipping in assists and goals, and I was looking at, and it would have gave me the money as well to make easy changes up front. I just, it was a moment of madness. It must have been a bit of Christmas booze, and I was a bit like, ugh.
Too much Baileys. Yeah.
Christmas Baileys, yeah, a bit too much Baileys. I made a rash decision, but it's okay. I mean, like, I really wanted to be up to around 100,000 by the end of the year. I'm obviously not there, but I know a lot of players take it seriously, or in the million, 2 million mark. So it's not terrible. And at the moment I've got a score of 1-1-1-1, which is a joy for binary fans, or a 2-score draws, I guess. But at least it's even. How was your week, Tom? You did better than me, didn't you? Annoyingly.
Yeah, I got 77 this week, basically because I went for Gordon. I considered Diaz. I
for
considered
about two
Jota.
seconds.
Yeah, I did want to get Jota, but I decided that I just didn't want the minutes risk, and then it was Bruno or Gordon. And to be fair to Neil, in the end this was actually wrong because Bruno played as a number 10, but I was put off by the fact that the team news was predicting Bruno to play deeper. So I guess thanks Neil for getting that one wrong.
Harsh.
But no, but yeah, and now I look at it, I've got a nailed asset, and everyone else has got Diaz, Jota, who you get the headache every week. So yeah, for the podcast, I got Raya with 6, Van Dijk with 2, Duncan Gabriel with clean sheets, Semenyo, Salah captain, Palmer, Gordon, Cunha, Jackson with 2, and then João Pedro just flopping again. We'll talk about forwards a bit later. On my bench, I've got Vlad Marson, so that was he got a point. 3.9 goalkeeper. So it gives me a decision that's not really a decision this week, but nice to have 2 playing keepers. So yeah, 77, second green hour in a row, 800k to 470k over Christmas now. So we're moving. It's good news. And Cunha as well. Cunha's fun because everyone's getting annoyed that he's not banned yet.
It is annoying. It is annoying. I wanted Cunha. I made the mistake with Cunha. I wanted him early in the season when he was doing quite well, and now I just had other problems to fix. And then when I made a change at my forward line, and I brought in Isak in the end instead, just because I had seen better fixtures, and I thought at some point the Cunha wheels would drop.
I mean, Isak's done well, to be fair.
But I know, but I brought Isak in for 2 games, and he did nothing in those 2 games, and so I then rage transferred him out to your boy Jackson, and then Jackson proceeded to do nothing, whereas Isak started hauling like it was just it was like disaster, and now I've got Isak back again. It's been a circular transfer nightmare, to be honest. It's just yeah, it's not been a good it's not been a kind of a good example of how to full plan. I didn't really want Isak, but it was one of those I was swayed by. I should have wanted him, but I didn't, and then I was kind of swayed by the kind of everybody going, "Oh, you've got to get Isak's the best option." And then yeah, I had him in game weeks. What was it, 12 and 13, I think. I think I brought him in for Haaland. Actually, I think that's part of the Haaland. Finally, yeah, that's when I finally in game week 11 I finally got bored of Haaland and moved into Isak. But had I held Isak all that time, I'd be laughing now. But I didn't. To be fair, Jackson's got a couple of kind of returns, but it's poor decision making. It's just like that knee-jerk decision making, just like having a strategy or an idea and then doing something completely different. But I wanted to do Haaland to Cunha. That was part of my plan, and I just didn't. And I'm not quite why I didn't, but I just didn't do it. I went to Isak instead, and so I've missed out on Cunha's points, and then I missed out on Isak's points. It's not good. It's not been good strategy up front, and I've done the same with this Diaz move. I think I'm just feeling. I hope to be proved wrong, and I hope he smashes it tomorrow.
Well, you got to look forward, Chris, not backwards, and we're going to look forward.
You've got to
look
look forward, not backwards. No, but I'm old.
With
you
the
see,
fixtures.
That's the voice of a young man. That's the voice of a young man. I'm an old man at Christmas. You've got to look back. That's what you got. But go on. Yeah,
we're looking forward now. We got the fixture ticker on screen for the next 6 weeks, sorted by difficulty. For the podcast, Southampton atop, which we'll probably move on quite quickly. Palace is second. There's a lot of interest in Palace this week. Fulham third. Again, lots of interest. Chelsea fourth. Then Newcastle, Everton, Villa, Liverpool. And then down at the bottom, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Bournemouth. So I guess the things that people are doing this week is Bruno replacements, potentially João Pedro, and then defenders if they want. So I guess Crystal Palace, second on the ticker. You've got Sarr, Munoz, Mateta. What do you think about Palace, Chris? Good fixtures.
I at the start of the season I was quite excited about getting Palace in, and I'm a big fan of Mateta, but it hasn't obviously happened for them until recently. They just were with Elise going, Eze's looked a shadow of himself. Maybe the things related. I don't know. And they lost. Obviously, it was Anderson, wasn't it? They lost as well in defence. So they've just not taken a long time to kind of get into any sort of format, and any sort of form. I think Palace. Palace assets are great. And Mateta, I really like. I like Mateta. I know there's a lot of love for Munoz. Um, yeah, I don't know about the
Sar as well.
midfield. What's that?
Sar, 5.7 midfielder.
Sar, yes, no, Sar. There's some shouts for Sar. That was one of the options for the midfield. I think Scott, one of our social media chaps, Scott Worrell. I usually debate with him about EFL. He's a Leeds fan, don't know anything, but he does, he lays loads. But he's gone for Sar, I think. So yeah, I don't know. I probably, if I was a smarter player, I'd have looked at Sar rather than going to Diaz and just looking at these last two. Um, but yeah, I've been reassured by Nikolai in the chat that Diaz probably starts both 19 and 20. So thank you for that. I shall hold you to that. And just to shout out to Kalesh Ramji, he was first here. Please give me a shout out. There you go. Shout out, smiley face. Cool. But yeah, what have you got? Have you got any Palace?
I haven't
Yeah.
got Palace yet, but spoiler alert, I'm gonna get Munoz this week because this is the week to go if you want to go on Palace.
They've got
Southampton at
Chelsea
home.
next after Southampton.
Yeah, but I can bench him if I want
Fair enough.
for
That's true.
Castagna. He's got Ipswich at home. So I did want to ask you a question, Chris, because Dean Henderson is at Palace, 4.4.
Yeah.
Jordan Pickford is now 4.9. I'm just double checking that. Obviously, people on Flecken, injury, Fabianski injured.
Yeah.
People may be looking for a keeper. Do you think Pickford's still at the price where he's the go-to, or
Yeah, I think. I mean,
as an Everton fan?
So I've got Henderson and sort of Flecken rotating, and obviously with Flecken out, I'll have Henderson this week. I wasn't really going to pick Flecken against Arsenal anyway, to be honest.
Would you swap them if you could?
If I could swap them, I had picked for the start of the season. I tipped him to be the best keeper in the game. I said we'd keep lots of clean sheets. I said we'd get lots of save points and he gets his bonus. I was right, just my time frame was wrong. So I think I got rid of him week 2 or 3. Just we were getting trounced the first couple of weeks and it didn't look great. So, but yeah, I think Pickford's a good option. I mean, the fixtures aren't quite as kind as they've been at different times, but then we've proved fixture proof recently. You got Forest at home next, then Bournemouth away, Villa at home, Spurs.
Will you
at
attack
home.
a little bit more in these fixtures?
I don't know if we'll attack a little bit more. I mean, the thing is the big thing for Everton, the big unknown is what happens under the new owners. Obviously, the Friedkin takeover's gone through. Hey, pop the champagne. But then we said that about Mashiri, so we'll wait and see, I guess, a little bit. But that's gone through. These guys seem to be smart operators. They've got, they're in Roma as well, and I think we'll see a bit more, some more sanity in our transfer dealings, hopefully, than now. I think the problem right now, though, is just that our forward line in Dyer's been brilliant. DCL's been just DCL. If you just want to hold the ball up,
Brozier's looked good.
He's done a decent job. What's that?
Brozier's looked decent.
Yeah, Brozier. He's only really had a little bit so far, but Brozier's the hope. DCL, I don't know if whether he's lost his mojo, whether he's just playing out time until he gets his move, or whether just the style of play is not creating opportunities. He's had a lot of good chances and he just hasn't been putting them away. Like I say, he does a good job in distracting defenders and holding the ball up, but he's not scoring. I think he's only got 2 this year or something. He's not scored since game week 4, I don't think. So he's a problem. And Beto usually comes on. How he's got the best XG. He does get in good positions. He'll kind of run with the ball. He's very different to DCL. And
seems like Brozier's now coming on ahead of him, though.
I think, I think if I imagine Brozier will play. I imagine we'll try and strengthen up front in the window, and I imagine Beto could be one to go. I think both Beto and DCL could go in the window, to be honest.
What about Pickford, though? Do you think he's still the best keeper?
He's not going to play up front, no. I don't see that as a move. That would be, for Dyche, that'd be a bit
good at penalties.
Yeah, no, I think Pickford is. I think Pickford's still a really good option. We are gonna have a good chance of getting clean sheets, and we are, but we are going to concede shots. He's a good shot stopper, and usually he's not going to get, if we win or draw, he's not going to, we're not scoring a lot of goals, so the points are going to kind of gravitate more towards the defenders and the keeper than they are to the forward line, I'd say. So. If we get a result of any kind, he's in with a shout of bonus. So I think he's a good option.
The thing with Pickford is you combine him with Munoz, and it's better than, say, Henderson and Mikolenko, I think. If you're sort of Palace and Everton.
Yeah, I think Mikolenko's just again maybe because start he has in past seasons threatened to be a decent attacking sort of
I mean, he's 4-4. He's good, decent value.
yeah, but he's not really getting forward. He's scored a couple of goals in the past. He's got forward a bit more. I think yeah, we're not playing that style of football. I mean, the other thing that could happen is we could have a completely different manager, which everything that we'll see. I think that's unlikely given these results. I think if we'd got battered all across Christmas, then that might be more likely. But I think it's unlikely they'll straight away change because I think Dyche is exactly the sort of manager you would want to just steady the ship and keep you up. But I'd be amazed if he's still here by the start of next season.
Yeah.
Even though I do like the bloke, I do like the fella. I don't know if he's not a Postecoglou, is he? Let's put it that way. So
And just
not,
finally,
not sure I can. I'm not sure my heart could stand Postecoglou as a fan, but I guess it's
yeah.
exciting.
And just finally
But
on
yeah,
the
I'm
fixture
interested in
ticker.
Arteta.
Sorry,
Yeah,
moving on to Brentford. You've got Mbomo and Visser.
yeah,
Brentford near the bottom there with Arsenal, Southampton, City, Liverpool, Palace, Spurs, the next six. We're going to talk forwards and midfielders next, but what's your gut feel on Brentford assets?
yeah. I mean, I've stuck with them when a lot of people got rid of Mbumo. I stuck with him, and I've been rewarded for that because he's still done the business. In a few fixtures at least. And Wissa, lucky not to get a goal yesterday. Yesterday night, he got a VAR. And he's a decent striker, Wissa. And at home, Brentford are a force. The problem is they've got the absolute toughest fixtures. Maybe City aside of these at the moment with Arsenal, Liverpool, City. Spurs not so much. But away to Southampton, that's probably a fixture I keep them for. Yeah, and then Palace are tighter than they were as well. So it's a very tough fixture run. I'm thinking of moving on one of them, but which one I don't know, and I don't know if I'll do it this week. I guess I could do it. I could do that move you're talking about. I could do an Embuemo to Sarr. That could be another. That could be an interesting move to sort of straight away switch round,
I like
leave
that.
me Vista for the Southampton because I think Vista's more. I went seen the week. I think Vissa's in obviously more dangerous positions than it sounds stupid, but than Embuemo. Embuemo can be brilliant, but then he can also drift out of the game out wide or play further back and just not be where you want him to be. I think Vissa. I'll probably get rid of if I do want him. I'll get rid of Embuemo and hold the Vissa. I've got Flecken to get rid of as well, or look at and deal with.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm Henson, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to midfielders, see if we can tempt you into any Mbeumo replacements. For the podcast listeners, I've got a table on screen from the Fantasy Football Scout members area sorting the midfielders basically cheaper than Bruno by expected goal involvement. At the top, we've got Cliver of Bournemouth. That's helped by penalties. That hat-trick of penalties, actually, so you probably take that number with a pinch of salt. Bowen is second. Jacob Murphy third, Odegaard, Sarr, Gordon, Diaz, Semenyo, Enzo, Diallo, Mbomo, Martinelli and Rodgers. Everyone's favourite, Rodgers, his XG numbers are actually very, very poor, but that doesn't seem to stop him. So yeah, I guess I bought Gordon last week, so I still think he's the best asset if you've got a Bruno.
Well done.
If you've got a Bruno or you haven't replaced Saka, yeah, I think Gordon's the one. United, Spurs next two, no fear whatsoever. And then a great run of home fixtures. But yeah, Bowen near the top of this, but really tough fixtures at the bottom of the ticker. I'll just bring up the fixtures back quickly. West Ham, Liverpool, City next two. So yeah, what if I guess you don't have Bruno or Saka, but if you were going this week to replace Saka, who comes to mind?
Yeah, if I was going for Saka, I would have gone Diaz. That's what I did last week. But no, I wouldn't do that this week. I think I like Newcastle and I like Sarr in this. Sarr is actually whispering me at the moment. I think Murphy's actually as good an option as Gordon, to be honest, and he does also buy you a lot of money. Obviously, Gordon, recently he's been getting the goals and assists. He seems to have a fixed starting spot now. I think Gordon's not quite as prolific as maybe we'd have kind of hoped to play in that more kind of forward role. But yeah, I think either Murphy are good or Gordon are good options. I think Newcastle, one of those teams, and this is why I consider it very seriously going for Murphy, is that they get on a run and we've seen the last few years, once they're rolling, they tend to roll on until they hit bump, and then it's terrible for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And they are flying right now. And yeah, I think they're definitely a team to back. I've already got Hall and Isak, so I don't feel as under pressure to get with Isak in that attack. I don't feel as under pressure to get a presence. But yeah, I think you're right. Gordon's obviously won this week. I think Murphy will do well. I think either those two options are good. Bowen, I think, will come as an asset at some point this season that you'll want. But I agree with you 100%. This is not. This is really not a smart time to go into that, even though they are playing City, which is something we should mention at some point when we think that's going to end, when City will actually return.
Yeah, the thing with
I don't know, who
Newcastle
else
as
do you
well,
fancy?
everyone's got
What?
Isak, so
Yeah.
it gives you an extra route in and some differential points. Jota is not on this table. Diaz is, but if I guess just to be devil's advocate, if you thought they were good assets last week, like for example with Jota, he was always going to start one of the next two probably.
Yeah.
So he's benched. He was benched last week, so you'd think he's going to start this week. So
Yeah.
why is he still not? Why is he not a buy this week like he was last week?
I'm just never really fancied. I've never really fancied Jota. Well, you say Diaz or Jota? You're
Well,
saying?
both of them. Like, do you?
Yeah.
They've got their benching now, so presumably they're
Yeah.
better
No.
this week.
I think the problem is, and the thing I feel owning right now is just owning an asset. You're just not sure when they're going to play, how long they're going to play.
Yeah.
You know the quality, and both those players are quality, and they're both capable of big double-digit hauls, as they've proven, and they're in a great attack. Who are starting to put some big numbers in again. It's not just 1 or 2 nils anymore, but it's just that security of starts. It's just very frustrating. And that's the only thing. Like, I'm already frustrated and feeling, oh God, this is a problem I've got to deal with. So I wouldn't wish that on someone else. It's a great differential if it comes off, but I think there are better options. I mean, looking at this, I'd be interested in your opinion on Enzo. He was someone I looked at seriously, and he had a little bit of a purple patch. But in Chelsea, obviously, have still got presentable fixtures. They're still very high up. They're fourth on that table. They're the biggest team in that top. The highest ranked team in that top four. They're second still, right? So are they second? I think they are. Yeah. So are you? Are you? What do you think about Fernandes as an option in the Chelsea midfield, doubling up?
It's quite tricky because he obviously had a really big purple patch where he overperformed. He was unlucky against Fulham because he put that ball in for Cucurella, who missed. And then I think he got an assist that was offside for Colwill. So yeah, I think at his price, 5.1, he's a good asset. He's better when Lavia's fit because Caicedo goes to right back, Lavia holds a bit, and Enzo goes further forward. But we don't know if Lavia's back. We don't think he is. So I guess for his price, I think he's probably better than Ahmad. But I'd still have Rodgers over Enzo. And then it's like you're replacing Bruno or Saka. Lots of people already have two, like Semenyo, Rodgers, Enzo, Diallo. I don't think you need a third 5 million midfielder. I'd want to get Gordon, probably. So
yeah, no, I think that's the.
If Rodgers got injured though, like if you were looking for a 5, and I maybe like Semenyo is really frustrating. I think he's better than Semenyo, so I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, I think he's a decent asset for his price, but I don't think, like, if you're saying I want Enzo instead of Sarr or Enzo instead of Gordon or Bowen, then no, basically.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits in the chat here. One, Nikolai has said that Slot has said Jota's still being a bit away from full fitness, so he might not play this week. Not that Jota's on this table anyway. And a name that isn't on this table from Christian is Foden, Phil Foden.
Yeah, I didn't put him on because he's more expensive than Bruno, but
okay.
I just wouldn't. Like, what have you seen that makes you want Phil Foden apart from just nostalgia? That would be my take. Like,
it's got a nice haircut.
Man City are rubbish.
I don't know. I mean,
they are genuinely an average football team now.
But what's going to change that? I mean, like, it's staggering, isn't it? Isn't it just? I don't think it's staggering that Man City lose a couple of games. But
they've won 1 in 30.
but yeah, that's it. Like, they've on the Premier League, they've not. Is it 9 or 10 games? They've not won. They've only won 1 game. That's that from being waltzing the certainly commanding the league. Maybe waltzing is a bit high, but they've won the league comfortably a number of years in a row. And the thing that's changed is they've lost Rodri. and maybe the defense is a bit older. But like,
I just think they've
I
all
just don't,
declined
I
at the
don't
same
quite understand
time.
what's going on.
Like De Bruyne just doesn't start anymore. Like Walker's legs have gone. Stones is always injured. Kovacic is just not a six, like playing as a six. Foden, he scored one Premier League goal all season. That's just poor. Like,
Yeah.
Doku and Savinho just have no end product, really, if you look at their numbers. And Haaland, when the other players play badly, Haaland looks poor because
Yeah.
he's a penalty box striker.
Yeah. He doesn't. He needs the team to be. But they were absolutely dominant. I mean, unsurprisingly, Everton were dominated from possession perspective, and they were.
Yeah,
I was
but
watching
XG wise, it was less than one without the
Yeah,
penalty.
and they didn't. I mean, even the goal that went in was a bobbly, lucky bounce off the bottom of Brentford's foot that overall Tarkowski wanted to anyway. That went over the keeper. I mean, it was.
And you should have won that game.
Yeah.
That 4-2 at the end.
Annoyingly, I watched the first half an hour, and then I had to go to a panto with the family. So I was sitting there in Aladdin, watching, going, "Oh no, it isn't. Is it?" Oh, it's sort of.
Did you see that 4-2 at the end?
I know. I've not even seen the bloody highlights yet. I've been like my Christmas family. The only time I had free the day, I did a pod.
Spending time with family, Chris.
I know.
At Christmas. That's outrageous.
Oh, one name that's come up as well, which ties into two of the points you've made from someone in the chat. So I'm trying to keep the chat engaged. Dr. FPL. He's not a real doctor. I mean, maybe he is. Don't know. Any interest in Eze? Can you please discuss him? So you mentioned Palace as being a team to target. We're talking about midfielders. What do you think of Eze? Not been at it so far, but is he someone that we should be interested in?
I'm just getting his price up because I don't have it to hand. He is 6'6", SAR's 5'8", and I think SAR's got better numbers. So yeah, I don't really see why you'd pay more for Eze as opposed to SAR. And Eze keeps getting little injuries as well. He missed out 17 injury.
Yeah.
So is there a slight minutes concern possibly? Yeah, I'd just go SAR and save the money.
SAR's the easy option. So are you? But you're saying you're thinking SAR this week as your option, as a thing?
No, I'm not. I'm doing Munoz in.
Munoz. Would you, if you were me, would you go and Mbumo to SAR? I've got one transfer. I was planning to hold it.
And then how much money? Does that unlock something good from Vissa?
That gives me the freedom then to do something up front next week if I want to change the
Vissa
forward
to
line.
Watkins next week. Leicester.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And to be honest, yeah. How much? You can't really. Could you go Visa? Well, we can talk about your team later, I suppose. Actually, but
we can do. I don't know. I'm just you were chatting about it. I was interested.
And Mbumo to SAR, yeah,
final name,
I do like that.
Final name from the chat, and then we'll move on to the next point. Talk point is Maddison has been raised. Has Maddison really fallen off the grid?
Well, he's just not reliable minutes wise. Like even before this weekend, he got subbed off before 60. Then he was on the bench. He's not an option, I don't think.
Maddison will start against Wolves. Tanky, who is basically Postecoglou's right-hand man, is confident he's going to start. I haven't actually seen Neil's team.
He's only gone past 60 in one of the last 4 games. Like, okay, he starts Wolves, but then he might be benched against Newcastle.
Yeah, this is minutes. This is good. I raise it, even though we're just counting. Yeah, because that is the point. It's not just 4 minutes. Minutes is so frustrating. That is the Diaz Jota issue again. It's just where they play. It's no
just
good
get Gordon, people nailed.
Just get Gordon. Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't touch Maddison. Kulusevski, I like more, and Sam does. Spurs fan. I think Kulusevski's the pick of the Spurs mids, but Spurs are so inconsistent. I don't really, and they've got Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton. Not really massively enamoured by that.
No, fair enough. All right.
So that's midfielders. So in a word, if you were replacing Bruno this week, I say Gordon. What about you?
I like getting some money in. I know you talk about. I think having a bit more money to play with is always good. I think Sarr or Murphy would be for me. I didn't do that, so that's why I like it. Maybe if I had done that, I'd be going, you should go Diaz or Gordon. But I think Gordon's a good pick.
I'll just answer Matt in the chat. He's saying, any thoughts on Madueke owners? I would say unlucky, because by all accounts he turned up late to a team meeting. That's why he wasn't in the squad. Does that mean he comes back in against Ipswich? As a Chelsea fan, I would start him, because I think we need fresh legs, and I think he's better than Neto personally. However, for FPL, you can't rely on it, and then who's to say that he's not benched on the weekend again? So I would go to Sarr, I think. I don't particularly think Sancho, Neto, or Madueke are worth owning. So yeah, I would.
I think this is the problem for Chelsea. That small squad is starting to bite, isn't it? They're
Well,
not
it is
having,
now.
not having
Everyone's
enough.
injured, but yeah.
Fair
No,
enough.
but yeah. So we'll move on now. Quick promo for the free trial. Chris, you can tell us more about the free trial on site. 7-day free trial. If you sign up now.
It's a 7-day free trial. Yeah. So if you're a free member, you can join up to be a free member of Fantasy Football Scout, and it allows you to comment on the site and gets you access to a few bits and pieces already. So you should just do that. There's nothing really. You get a free newsletter which with highlights of key-ish talking points each week as well. Comment on the site, and I think there's a couple of articles that unlocks for you. But if you want to get all the data, there's 14 seasons of Opta data. All the visualizations like the heat maps and the player comparisons, our predicted points, rate my team and rate my kind of rate my run. I can't remember what it's called. There's a better thing than that. Rate my season kind of thing, which has been slightly updated version. If you want that, if you want the team planner, if you want access to also the StatsBomb data, of course, we've got bits of StatsBomb data and StatsBomb visualizations. There's hundreds of articles that are for members only, or at least have the data segments separated for members only, and tons of other stuff in there. There's loads of stuff in the members area. We're adding stuff all the time. I don't even know what's in there all the time. We've even got our fantastic referees list that no one ever talks about, but I think it's kind of cool. But if you're really bored of a weekend, you can look at the referee stats and try and plot what impact that might have on the weekend. But there's loads of great stuff there. It's pretty cheap generally in comparison to other memberships that are available. The original and best, of course. But if you are wary about signing up for a week, a monthly, or a annual sub, you can check it out for free for 7 days, effectively. So you can sign up, check it out for 7 days, and if you cancel before the end of that time, then you don't pay a penny.
Yeah, do it today. You get 2 game week deadlines.
Yeah, do it today.
7 days.
You get 2 game weeks worth of stuff, and you get to mess around with it and play with it. And we're adding a lot more. Obviously, there's the app as well now. So a lot of the tools are going in the app. And we have got a lot more we're working on. So we've got a lot of stuff we're planned on for this season, and particularly for the new season. So we are, and obviously, if you buy a year membership, it takes you from now through to next Christmas. So get a whole year of get your 2025-26 season underway as well. Plus, we have Champions League, fantasy data and article stuff in there as well. EFL fantasy we're covering with a few bits. We've got a ticker in there for EFL fantasy. It's been quite handy if you've been planning your fantasy EFL triple game week this week, which I'm doing quite well in after game of the first week of the 3 games. But yeah, we've got all that stuff. So do check it out. And it's also, as it stands, it's still 40% off. We are supposed to have raised the price about 3 times now. It's going to happen this weekend. Hasn't happened. Hilarious technical reasons, but good thing for you is if you sign up now, you still get to hold that price. At some point, it will change. Maybe the new year.
Yep.
Cool.
Perfect. So yeah, free trial on site now. Use the link in the description, and you'll get game week 19 and game week 20 if you do it today or tomorrow, I suppose. But get it done tonight for game week 19. Cool. Forwards. Let's move on to forwards. So for the podcast, there is the same table as midfielders, sorted by expected goal involvement. Obviously, this is from the members area, so you can go and make your own table if you do the free trial. First, Isak. This is last 6 matches. First, Isak. Everyone wants Isak. Havertz second, Jackson, Vardy, Delap, Watkins, Mateta, Strand Larson, Chris Wood, Onaka, Onucho. That is a butchery and a half, but the Southampton 4.94.
Let's call the whole thing off. You say Onucho, I say Onaka.
Yeah. Onucho, Solanke, Gakpo, Adam Armstrong, and Ndai, Evan Nilsson, and then bottom João Pedro. So we'll start there. I guess the headline is if you don't have Isak, get Isak. Basically, that's what I would say.
Are you telling me Adam Armstrong is above any Everton striker in this list?
Yes.
That's how bad our forward line is.
Yeah, but it's better than João Pedro and Ndai.
Well, that's true. João Pedro's full. I had different times, both Evan Nilsson and João Pedro. I don't have any now, but yeah, okay. So Isak's a no-brainer. So you don't even need to discuss that. If you've not got him, try and get to him. He is getting quite expensive now, of course, but still worth it.
I don't have him yet, but I've got the money to do Cunha to Isak as soon as soon
So
as.
let's because the elephant in the room that's not on this list is Cunha,
Yeah,
and Cunha is not yet banned for 5 matches, despite some cheeky scamps on the
yeah.
FPL
The
Twitter.
utmost clarity, we should say that as of 12:30 on the 28th, Cunha's
Yeah.
not banned.
See, this is the detail. This is why Scout doesn't run crazy articles based on rumors, because we like to give you actual data and detail on our main site. And yeah, so we didn't get follow certain other outlets in rapidly reporting this 5 game ban, which actually turned out to come from one of the scamps, the FPL scamps in the just completely made up. But he will get a ban,
You
surely.
can't
He is
buy
going to
him
get a
though,
ban.
can you?
But for Spurs,
Yeah, but
do you
you
not
can't.
think that's
No,
exciting?
you can't. It's 2 transfers. Like, it's 2 transfers.
Yeah, well, I'm
Because
not hold him. He could be.
oh yeah,
Is
you
it going
hold
to be
him.
five?
Of course, you
Likely
hold
five
him.
games?
No, no, and
Yeah,
no. I don't think you can buy him.
fair enough. I'm just saying he's not on here,
He's not
and
on
there's a
here
chap
as a reason. He would be, but I took him
yeah,
out because obviously,
but he is the top point scoring forward in the
yeah,
game now,
scores from
bar none.
corners.
Above Isaac, above Haaland. Yeah. So I and Narayan, that's pretty much your name. Yeah. So Cunha is probably not a better buy this week. I think it's a really if you were planning to wildcard immediately in the new year, then you might be able to do that. But I think it's probably not a smart move. Although, if he goes and scores a hat trick or something, then wouldn't it be like, would have been worth it.
Yeah,
But if you've got him, hold him
yeah, for sure.
and enjoy your jam of all these extra games he's getting he shouldn't have. And then otherwise not. So Havertz then. Havertz scored, didn't he, yesterday?
Yeah, playing midfield, Havertz. I think he'll be back up front.
You sort of dismissed it in a second.
No, no, no.
Havertz
I
playing
was
midfield.
thinking. No, I don't think you should dismiss it because I think Jesus will be dropped soon. I think Arteta always prefers Havertz up front, and Jesus is blank now, so it wouldn't shock me if Havertz goes back up front, Partey back in with Rice and Odegaard, Jesus on the bench. I don't think it's the worst move in the world, but only 1 goal against Ipswich. This is probably a bit knee-jerky, but is that the lack of Saka creativity coming through?
Yeah.
I want to talk about Jackson quickly. Sorry. Oh, yeah, you talk about Havertz.
I was just going to say, I think the fixtures, Brighton, they could get something. Spurs, they could get something. Brentford could be quite tough. I think it'd be quite a tight game, that. The fixtures aren't bad, even though they're marked as kind of reds here. But there'll definitely be goals against Spurs, let's face it, and Brighton, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And then Wolves are a lot tighter now. I mean, Arsenal are still Arsenal, but yeah, I don't think the ceiling is high enough on Havertz to be that interested for me. And as you say, there are other assets in there. So yeah, you go for Nicholas Jackson. I've got Jackson. I'm going to hold him. I feel okay about owning him. I'm not super excited. I don't think we've been rewarded as well as we'd like to have been from this run of fixtures. So is it going to get better this week?
I mean, if he starts, it will. I think he will start. I don't see, the whole Nkunku thing, right, we're just not as good as a football team when he's on the pitch. He outside the box, Nkunku is miles off Jackson. Slightly better finisher, but he doesn't really hold the ball up very well. He doesn't really run in behind. He doesn't link up with Palmer as well. There's a reason why Jackson has started 17 out of 18 games this season. And obviously, the last midweek game against Southampton, he made 9 changes. I can't see that happening again, partly because we don't have the players that are fit to do that, but also because we need to win, obviously. So yeah, I think Jackson will start. And if he starts, he'll probably do well against Ipswich. So yeah, I wouldn't be looking to sell because we've still got good fixtures. He's still first choice. He's still getting chances. Against Everton, he hit the post, didn't he? And missed a big, massive chance. And then against Fulham wasn't his best game, but it wasn't Chelsea's best game, to be fair. But yeah, as Manon says in the chat, the whole of Chelsea's system changes when Nkunku starts. So yeah, I just can't see it happening.
It's working. He's doing brilliant in the Conference League European thingy. What's it? And he's doing great there, isn't he? He's been scoring for fun there.
But he still, even in those games, he still doesn't do much.
No, but it's also a different team, isn't it? It's an entirely different team that plays that.
Yeah,
pretty much. So
Maresca did say 1, 2, or 3 changes. FPL Mackham saying in the chat, how do you not have enough fit players? Yeah, we obviously have a big squad, but Mudryk suspended, Lavia's injured, most of our backup defenders are injured. I think the only changes I can foresee would potentially be Disasi. I think João Felix will come in for Sancho on the left. And then Madueke would start if he's off the naughty step, basically. So I think it'll be those 2 or 3 changes. But yeah, so yeah, I'd hold Jackson, and I still think he's a buy. I still think he's a good buy if you've already got Isak. A name I wanted to throw to you, Chris, because you've obviously got Vissa, similar ballpark, Chris Wood.
Yeah, Chris Wood. I did this cast yesterday about the sort of players you've wanted all season or you've tipped and you didn't kind of buy. So you've coveted, I guess. And yeah, Chris Wood, I was tipping him big time at the start of pre-season. In every cast I was on, everything, I'm going, he's going to be the surprise package, blah, blah. And then I've never owned him. The entire thing, never quite been able to make it work. I think...
You tempted for Vissa? Next to a few,
I'd
Everton, Wolves, Liverpool, Southampton.
I'm probably not. I don't think that the fixtures. I don't know. He's an option. I'm not excited by that move. Put it that way. Yeah. I'm not excited about making that move. I think that the it ties up to me with where you think Forest is going to finish and how long you think this run is going to continue. I think Forest have done an incredible job. I don't see them being the top 4 at the end of the season. So I think at some point they're going to have a bit of a dicier run. They've obviously got a very difficult game this week, so I wouldn't be bringing him in for that because he's not going to get a sniff at Goodison. And Wolves is a difficult match as well. Now Wolves have tightened up remarkably under the new manager. Liverpool's obviously difficult, so I wouldn't really be that interested in him until Southampton. Not that he can't get a goal in any of those matches, and obviously Forest did beat Liverpool, last team to do them. So I'm not that he can't get a goal in that, but I'm just not as excited. I think he's if you had him, I'd keep hold of him probably and surf it out to, but I don't know if I'm desperate to go there just yet. If they're still. If it's still by game week 22, they're still riding high and he's popped in a couple more goals, then maybe he'll be for that run of Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. I might be a bit more excited.
Yeah. I wanted to shout out the Southampton strikers just slightly because they're so cheap and they got good fixtures. The guy who I can't pronounce, Onuechu, we'll leave it there. 4.9. The new manager, had some good comments about him this week. So I guess if you really want to go down and maybe just move to a 3-5-2, could be decent. I want to get your opinion on Ndai just quickly. Do you think he's a genuine option at 5-4? Like, because he is a João Pedro replacement in theory. There's not many.
He's our most exciting player. Ndai is our most exciting attacking player by a long chalk, and he should be. If we had someone putting the ball in the net, I think you'd be seeing assists rack up as well. The problem is he's having to do everything himself, and he's running with the ball, he's getting to space, he's shooting a bit. He obviously got his goal of the day. He's got a couple so far, but I think I think if Broja does play regularly and start looking a bit more of a finishing point for the moves that are being created, I think Ndai becomes a more interesting asset. He's as much a creator, I'd say, as a scorer himself, but I just think there are better options out there, to be honest. So I love watching him play, but his numbers bring him into my side.
0.16 XGI per 90 this year is pretty. That's pretty terrible, if we're honest.
You put him in the list. I didn't. What about Gakpo? We talked about Jota and Diaz earlier, and Gakpo obviously was the man the other day, not yesterday, Saturday, day before Friday, rather. Well, I don't know what day it is. Thursday, God knows. Boxing Day, that's it. So, what do you think about Gakpo? Is Gakpo playing his way into as an option?
I mean, he's definitely. I think he's in that Liverpool team first choice now. He started 6 in a row, but his minutes 67, 69, 66, 72, 61. So he loves an early sub. Having said that, he played 90 on Boxing Day, although furthering that now I think makes him a bit of a risk this week. So I'm not sure you can buy him this week after playing 90 with Jota and Diaz waiting there. But I'd go for Mateta at the same price, I think.
And two quick names, because I know you've got one, and there's one we haven't talked about. I think we should talk about. One is João Pedro. You've owned him for quite a while, I think.
Yeah.
What you're getting rid, right?
Not this week. I've got other things to do, and I could play Semenyo or him.
But
basically.
if you had the transfer, would you move him on?
It's tricky because I don't think there's too many good forwards. If Cunha wasn't being banned,
everyone I said had been telling me that João Pedro's stinking up their forward line.
But he's so cheap. Yeah. I'm not really that bothered. If Cunha was fine, I would do João Pedro to Isak, but he's not. Well, he won't be. So that's Cunha to Isak next week probably. The options, like, could I get to Mateta? If I could get to Mateta this week, it wouldn't be awful. Chris Wood for that run, maybe, but I'm happy to keep him. I might bench him this week for Semenyo, but yeah, I'm not. And then next week, Rodgers and Semenyo both have good fixtures, so I can just bench João Pedro anyway. So I'm not in a rush to move him on. Basically, I wanted to.
Rodgers, another name.
Sorry, Watkins. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say talking another name I've been hearing is Watkins has been mentioned as with Duran now out.
2 games. 3. Yeah, because one's in the FA Cup, so
okay.
2 game weeks.
So Watkins has been sort of not been delivering this year as we'd have hoped. Villa they've got Arsenal in there, but they've got a decent run coming in. Do you think that could be? It's a big price tag, right? But do you think that could be an interesting differential if you've got the money?
If you've got the money,
if you've got
the transfers, I think. Yeah, but you're not. If you've held Haaland for this long, you're not going to sell him before Leicester, are you?
I don't know. I feel bad for people who held on to Haaland. It's worse every week, doesn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, I like Watkins, but it's Bournemouth and no, it's not. It's Brighton and Leicester at home, the next 2. So while Duran suspended, it's pretty perfect if you've got the transfers. If your team's in a good place and you've got the money to go João Pedro to Watkins, I'd probably do it. As long as you've already got Isak, basically. So let's wrap up the forwards. Chris, if you were buying a forward this week, maybe 2 sort of different prices, who would you go for? In a word.
I've already got Isak and Jackson, so and of that list,
it's got to be Mateta, hasn't it? Or Watkins.
I think Mateta. Yeah, I think Mateta. I would look at Wood, but I think Mateta, if I could have the money to do that could be the thing. I'm more moved though to go with Sarr than Mateta at the moment. And so I can do that.
I agree.
But yeah,
I don't mind Wood either. I think Chris Wood's fine. But to be honest, the midfield is.
We've been told
sneeze at the end.
To say it like you're sneezing, apparently. So it's on a Achu. That's it. So thank you very much.
There you go. Gakpo on 4 yellows as well. That's a fair point. Is he? I'll just check that. Don't want to spread fake news.
If you have Holland, I reckon you've got a captain him. Says FPL Mac in the chat. I don't know about that. I guess we'll talk about this week now. Sorry,
Gakpo is on 4 yellows. That's a fair point. Obviously, this is the last week for the 5 yellow card cut-off. However, Liverpool and Everton go another week because they missed a game, basically. So game week 20 for Gakpo. So he's got 2 more games for suspension. Whereas Jackson,
we don't have a date yet, do we? Think it's February. It's not been confirmed, has it? The rearranged thing.
But yeah, so 4 yellows. There's an article on site that's gone out today about 4 yellows, so do check that out. Jackson, Robinson, Rodgers, all on 4 yellows. 1 more game to survive.
If Jackson, Robinson, Rodgers all get, that'd be fantastic.
Jackson's done so well. I think he's survived 8 games now or something.
Maybe he'll come on 5 minutes into the match and get a yellow card. That'd be perfect for us, Jackson.
He hasn't been booked for 8 weeks now. But yeah, so that's forwards.
You can't say things like that on a stream, you fool.
He's on his best behaviour, honestly. It's like a switch flicks, and he just doesn't talk to referees anymore as soon as he gets to 4 yellows.
Fair enough.
There's a good stat about Jackson, right? He's been booked, I think, 16 times or something, and only 2 have been for a foul in Premier League. So
what's the others for?
Just back chat. Last year he got booked for when he was a sub for running on the pitch and celebrating. Anyway, we'll move on to bus teams, and then we'll take a few questions for 5 minutes at the end. Chris, we'll go with you first. Do you want to read it out for the
Okay.
podcast?
Yeah, best team is Henderson against Southampton in nets, Timber, Gabriel away to Brentford, and Hall away to United's. Back three. Then at the moment, I've got Mbuemo, Diaz, Palmer, and Salah with the captain's the armband on Salah as it stands, and Isak, Visser, and Jackson up front. I do have Rodgers and Robinson though. Depending on whether I make a transfer or not, I might pull Rodgers in for one of the Brentford players.
I'd be doing
I
that
don't
for
hate playing
sure.
Robinson. What's that?
I'd be doing that for
You should
sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It just depends if I make a transfer or not. I was planning not to, but if I've been now you've talked me into SAR, you see, and that'll change my thinking. I don't think annoyingly I've got two Arsenal. I think Brentford could score against Arsenal. I think they look so good at home, attacking wise. It just connects in the G Tech. It's a nice stadium. It's very very middle class, very civilized little place. I enjoyed it. Anyway, what's your lineup?
We can talk. Sorry, we'll just finish on your team. So you're considering Mbomo to Sar. Do you think that?
I'm considering Bomber to Sar. And then I would play
What
Sar.
about Hall v Robertson? I think that's pretty close.
You think I should have Robinson over Hall?
Do you think Man United score?
I just don't think Man United are very good.
I think Man United probably get a goal. I think.
You think?
And I'd definitely be playing Rodgers over Visser, I think. But
yeah, well, I was going to play Rodgers. I was actually going to play Rodgers over Mbuemo. I actually fancy more out of Visser than Mbuemo if I don't swap him out. So yeah, that's my dilemmas. So my deadline dilemmas are those: is whether to go Mbuemo to Sar, and then whether to which I am leaning heavily towards now, and then whether to play Rodgers and Robinson instead of Visser and maybe Hall. I don't. Yeah, but maybe it's asking a lot. For United to get nothing at home.
Yeah. We'll ask the chat. Chat, who would you play, Robinson or Hall? Let us know. Nikolai saying you play Hall, United are rubbish. That's fair enough.
I play Hall, United are rubbish.
That's Chris's thinking, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll move on to my team. I have got Raya in goal. Could play Vlad Marson. Not going to, but nice to have a choice. Van Dijk.
Yeah, that'd be different.
Van Dijk, Castagna currently with Gabriel. Rodgers, Salah. I've currently got Palmer captain. Probably Chelsea bias, but we'll discuss that in a sec. And then Gordon, Cunha, Jackson, João Pedro. A few decisions. João Pedro versus Semenyo is quite close, I think. Need to look into that a bit more. Transfer-wise, I'm going to do Dallo to Munoz and then bench Castagna because I think that Munoz this week is the highest upside and this is the week to get him. Most XG of any defender this season playing Southampton. Captain, though, it's on Palmer. You had it on Salah. I guess you just... I mean, sensible says go Salah. But I think Ipswich are quite poor, basically.
I don't think they're as poor, though, as they've been made. I mean, Arsenal only got one past them. I don't think they're capitulating.
They still conceded over 2 XG, though.
Just looking back through last week, so they did get stuffed by Newcastle, didn't they? Yeah, I don't hate Palmer captain. I think he'd be like.
It's obviously a risk, and it's obviously not going to be that popular, but
it's more that the salary these days. It's the kind of EO, which is a really boring reason to do anything. But you just know that if Salah, I think Salah's could get decent numbers there. I don't think West Ham's defense is very good.
Well, they're missing. They've got injuries as well this week. Souček suspended, Fabianski injured.
I just don't.
Kilman went off. That's a big blow.
This is the sort of game that they could concede 4 or 5 goals in, I think. And I just think if Salah, even if Liverpool score 1 or 2, I think Salah's getting one of those. Palmer, the goals have just come from different places. So Palmer's been in the middle of big wins without necessarily being the thing. But that said, they got 1 goal last week. He picked all the bonus. I love Palmer. He's a brilliant player, and he's got his ceiling is huge. He can be as explosive as Salah. It's just not been quite as consistent. So it's a very close. I think it's a 50-50. It's a toss-up. Maybe that's one for your chat there.
The chat will say Salah.
Robinson is Robinson Hall has not been very clear. It's been nuclear absence is clear, but then we go into always captain Salah. The chess champion just said he always does. Is that Carlson? Is it Magnus Carlson? Who he got thrown out of a got disqualified from a speed chess championship in New York. I was reading the other day because he refused to change his jeans. That is
Yeah, I saw.
maverick. That's what he. That's the, he just he was playing his jeans. He had to change to smart trousers or something. I think he was also probably not going to win, so I don't think he was that bothered about wandering off because I think he was a couple of points off the top. But yeah, he's very rock and roll. They're turning chess into esport and going into Saudi Arabia. I don't know how people feel about that. It's going to be a new. Chess is somehow now part of the esports World Cup or something. It's all sorts. Anyway, we've segued a
Anyway,
little bit.
we'll take questions. We'll go probably till 1:05, I think. So 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Take us over an hour. So yeah, get your questions in the chat. I'll try and scroll back and find one while we wait.
Okay. I have Ahmad, Enzo, and JP. No other issues. One free transfer. Is it time to roll? They also has 2.6 in the bank. Obviously, without Ahmad, Enzo, and João Pedro, no other issues. So it's happy with everybody apart from Ahmad, Enzo, and JP. Would you
Yeah, I'd
only
roll
one free
that.
transfer? Would you roll that? Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. You play Enzo against Ipswich, perfectly good, and then Ahmad's been
Yeah.
doing all right. João Pedro, like he's still on penalties. Villa don't keep loads of clean sheets. I guess your options would be João Pedro to Mateta, basically, or Ahmad to Sarr, which I guess could
Yeah.
work, but it depends if you want to muck up the structure of your squad, basically. I'd consider
Would you
Palace
do
or
Ahmad
roll.
or Enzo though?
Oh,
Another question
Ahmad.
right underneath is
Ahmad, yeah,
Ahmad
Ahmad.
or Enzo? Ahmad.
I'd start
You got
Enzo
Ahmad
this
over
week. Sorry,
all
I'd
right.
start Enzo this week. Sorry, Enzo
Enzo.
against Ipswich, yeah.
I was surprised you were going against Chelsea. I was very yeah. Um, cool. All right. So
Bench.
bench Matoma or Rogers, says Zegrom. Sorry, you should be. I'm kind
No,
of
it's all good. What would you do? I'd probably say Rodgers at home. And Brighton are in poor form, haven't won in 6. I'd play Rodgers, I think.
yeah. I Rogers. I play Rogers definitely. So
Uh,
bench Matoma.
Aina or Robinson? Aina away at Everton, the top scoring defender in the game. I've got Robinson at home to Bournemouth. I'd probably start Robinson, I think.
I think that's very close. I think that Nottingham Forest Everton game does have 0-0 all over it. So watch for it being a 5-5 now. But yeah, I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight game. But yeah, Fulham
Robinson's so against
lineup.
Chelsea, he was so attacking. He missed a sitter in the 6-yard box as well.
Yeah. So we say I go Robinson as well. I think on that.
Yeah. Play or
Big
bench
Fish
Jota.
play Lewis.
Sorry.
Oh God.
Play or bench
Okay.
Jota. You've got to play Jota if you've got him this week.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why do you
Agreed.
have him, basically?
Unless, of course, you hear something. There's team news later on, isn't there? As we're recording this, I think you're doing a team news chat
Yeah.
update with later on.
Yeah, that's
so
9 p.m.
we'll
Yeah.
there you go. If evening for those hanging around, nothing to do.
Yeah.
Nothing to do today. There's no football on. It's weird, isn't it? My family's gone now. I've got my main family. My extended family's all left. So I don't know. I can't eat anything else. What are you going to do today? It's really boring, isn't it? Do some play with all the stuff that we got. All the stuff you got for Christmas. But okay. Lewis or Milenkovic? I probably don't know. You kind of think it should be Lewis or they.
Milenkovic is not scoring from a corner against Everton, is he? That's probably. I think you've got to play Lewis at Leicester.
Yeah, I think Lewis still with the attacking option.
He had a decent chance at
Lewis.
Everton, didn't he?
They will. They're gonna get a result at some point.
And
You
Leicester
just
are
can't go on.
genuinely terrible. Like, no team has conceded more shots than Leicester since Van Nistelrooy came in. I think we both play Lewis. Choose 2 to start of Bowen, Visser, and Ahmad. I'd bench Visser, I think. Bowen at home to Liverpool, I think is okay. Ahmad at home to Newcastle's fine, and then Visser, I think, has the toughest fixture. And Brentford's injury crisis is getting really bad now.
Yeah, I would probably agree. Although I think Visser can still get something.
You hope Visser gets.
I think
something.
Visser still get something. I think yes, I'm keeping it. I'm gonna play Visser. So yeah. I like Colm's question. Go out drinking Monday or stay in so you're fresh for New Year's Eve. This is a classic conundrum. I've been trying to keep the levels up all across Christmas so that you're ready for a big New Year's. Now I don't know. Go out drinking Monday.
Depends how much you
It's
can handle, I
Christmas.
suppose.
It's Christmas, isn't it? You've got to enjoy it. It's only gonna. You have to go back to work and then do dry January, then, aren't you? So
Not sure I should tell
go
my
for it.
boss my drinking plans on stream, but
Yeah, you should. It's all right. I'm the boss. We're all. It's a very flat structure. Go on then. What
um,
else we got?
get Gordon, Foden, or keep Bruno. I'd get Gordon, I think, or Sarr if you want more money. I don't see the point of keeping Bruno because he's got Liverpool next week. And then
Yeah.
Foden, like I was quite down on Foden. Fair enough if you want to punt against Leicester. I suppose there's worse punts, but just set yourself up, get Gordon, and then you can worry about other things. Would be my take.
And Gordon is you know what you're gonna get. You know he's gonna play. You know Newcastle's gonna get some goals and he's got a chance. I think that's a better. Yeah, yeah.
Watkins or Mateta? Watkins or Mateta? I think I
I think
really
they're
like
better.
Watkins the next two
You do?
because no one's gonna have him.
I like Watkins, but I would go Mateta given a choice.
Yeah.
You think for the next two? I just feel that you might end up. Sorry, it's a transfer. I was thinking you're starting.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Transfer.
The transfer. No, okay, for Jimenez. I would probably go Mateta. It depends how much money you've got left and what else you've got to sort out, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Mateta's the safer play, but Watkins for the next two it looks ideal. I think.
Watkins, yeah, could be a big differential, big swing. Watkins, I think. Yeah.
Would
Who on
you?
earth is this Chris Geezer? What? What? Frank Smith? Who are you? Who's this Frank Smith geezer? Never heard of you, mate. I don't know. I've come from the frozen north.
Fancy
So,
Football Scout CEO Chris. Yeah. There you go.
Oh right, it's all right. I was co-founder of this whole thing, but don't worry about it. I'm not in the front most of the time, so don't worry. I don't feel bad. I don't do this for the fame. It's all right.
Everyone else is on holiday at this point.
Yeah. How long have we got? Should we do two more?
Yeah, a couple more questions. Should I sell?
Kirkers or Robert?
Yeah, sorry, you do that one
Sorry.
first.
I have Semenyo. I would start if you've got Semenyo, and I like spreading the risk. I'm not rattled, not at all. I like spreading the. I'm just playing to the crowd, playing to the gallery. I like spreading across multiple fixtures because I hate just being all in on one. That's why I was a bit more nervous about going to Gordon or Murphy before. I would go. I'd go Robinson, I think.
Yeah. Final question: would you do Aina to Munoz? Aina, the top scoring defender. I'd still sell him to Munoz, I think. I think this is the time for Munoz. Southampton at home. Best XG of any defender. And obviously I'm doing the move, so I'm going to be for it. But I really like it, yeah. Yeah, basically. I think if you can get Munoz this week, you get him, basically.
I would bench even Nilsson. I've written it in anyway. 100%. I wouldn't have.
Final one, Timber or Castagna? Timber. You got to play Timber.
Why would you not play Arsenal defence?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah. I don't think he is. Yeah, Timber's been brilliant. He's
9 points for you last night. Did you see the Gabriel's?
Yeah, I know.
Did you see Gabriel's miss? Did you see Gabriel's miss?
I didn't. I haven't seen football. I'm going now after this. Go and watch football. I've been doing family.
I've got family.
Stuff.
Sorry, I forgot.
I had to watch some family TV. There was this. Oh dear.
Gavin and Stacey. I
can't describe the horrors. So yeah, I'm going to go and watch some. I'm going to catch up on all this football now and actually watch some highlights.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we'll leave that there. We had a Q&A yesterday with FPL Family, myself. That was good fun, so check that out. We've got team news tonight around 9 p.m. With Neil and myself, so you get all the team news ahead of tomorrow. And then from tomorrow evening, Monday, it'll be back to regular programming, Scoutcast, FPL General. All the big guns will be back. We'll be back on the bench. But yeah, so enjoy that. Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy the leftovers, and best of luck for Game Week 19. Thanks, Chris.
And Happy New Year as well to everybody. If I don't see you before, I'll probably relegate when we come back. So enjoy the last game week of the year, and 2025 is going to be brilliant. I'm sure it is. So get your resolutions in. I'm going to win FPL this year. Well, not this year, but next season, obviously. So.
Cool. All right. Cheers, guys.